Hello good people! This is FisherTwelve and we have another exciting video for you guys today, as always. And this video is going to be something a little bit different than what I usually do on my channel. This video is going to be a video response. And I have done video responses in the past, but specifically this video response is going to be an even different sort of video response than usual. And this is going to be a video response to Hitch, or Hitch Ride, who is a content producer for Optic Intel and is also just generally a known personality within our community. And he did a video this past weekend responding to Aches' rant. And Aches went on a rant sort of about Activision and our community and how no one really steps up to the plate and gets anything done. So my video is going to be, like I said, a response to him, but it's also sort of a response to Aches' rant. And what's special about Hitch's video response is that he does it in this series called Around the Bar, where he sets up this dialogue between the viewer and himself as if he was in a bar setting. So I've sort of mimicked that here with some Captain Morgan pineapple rum. And you guys can also participate in the discussion as well, simply by letting us know in the comments down below what you're drinking. If you're underage, feel free to drink that juice box, that Capri Sun, Sunny D, water, what have you, doesn't matter. Drink something, let us know in the comments down below, and feel free to add your thoughts in as well. So let's pour a glass here. So like I said, his rant was about Activision and how no one really does anything in the community. We don't get things done that we need to get done or that we want to have done. You know, specifically he mentioned how Activision only seems to care about eSports during Call of Duty Champs, during the halfway point of the COD cycle, right when COD is dying and sort of getting bored and stale. Activision suddenly rejuvenates it with Call of Duty Champs, a new DLC, and then after that you hear nothing. When was the last time you heard Call of Duty talk about, or Activision talk about esports? I haven't heard anything since Call of Duty Champs. They haven't talked about the X Games this weekend. Occasionally they'll tweet out from the Sledgehammer Twitter account like, hey, league matches going on here, or hey, good luck to all the competitors going to this event, and they'll put the hashtag. But other than that, they don't really seem interested. And I think I already talked about how Aches said that our community, Hitch called us a bitch community. I think we're a little bit more than that. I think we're just more of a indecisive, we're not really an organized community. That's maybe how I would put it. But essentially how we want to get things done, we know what needs to get done, and no one wants to actually step up, voice their opinion, and fight the fight to get that thing changed. So, I agreed with Hitch. I agreed with most things that he said. Something that I don't agree with, I don't know if he specifically said this, but I've heard people say this in general, and that's that the COD esports scene is young. I don't think we're young anymore. I think we're old. We're like 5 or 6 years in. I can remember my first MLG event, Providence 2011. It was a winter championship for Black Ops 1. Modern Warfare 3 had already come out. It was weird. And there was a table. There was just a table probably this size, like a typical lunch table, that was for League of Legends. And that was it. They just had that table, and there was a little banner up top that said League of Legends. Well, Halo had this giant center main stage. And then I forget what was on the all the way right main stage. I think that might have been... Oh, no, I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. StarCraft. StarCraft 2. That was in the giant middle stage. Halo had its stage all the way to the right. And then Call of Duty had a side stage to the left. And they had a feature stage. So to say that, like, oh, Call of Duty esports is young, we haven't grown all our growth yet, we're still infants, that's not true at all. Because we look at things like League of Legends and they just blasted through their infancy. Puberty hit them at the age of like 12 and they just skyrocketed to 22 in a second. So I don't think people should say that our scene is young. I don't think that's what our problem is. I think our problem is a lack of consistency. And I think that's where literally all of our problems, any problem that you have in the community, it stems from just the general lack of consistency. Whether it's developers, teams, game modes that we play, weapons, rules, it changes every single year, and this is a challenge that only our esports has to deal with. Other esports don't have to deal with. And on top of that, another challenge is that our sort of people in charge of the community, people that have the most say, are a third-party company. They're not the developers. We have MLG. We have that organization that we sort of look up to, and we look to them to run events and kind of carry our scene, be the management, be the leading organization of our scene, be the NFL of our scene. Whereas if you look at things like League, Dota, Counter-Strike, they have the actual developers fully invested in the tournaments, in the prize pools, in the scene, and that I think is a bigger hurdle more so than just being a young esport. And to build off that, I think that's why we don't sort of see this style of growth. We kind of see more of this like up plateau, more of this like step-like growth, and I think it literally comes down to because every year we kind of get these new hurdles and we have to deal with them as they arise. It's not like every year we get Call of Duty and we know ahead of time, or MLG knows ahead of time, or whoever knows ahead of time, this is what's going to be in the game, these are going to be, you know, the general rules, this is the equipment, yada yada yada, and these are the things that need to be removed come day one in order to have a successful Call of Duty esports scene. Because basically what happens is we spend the first month figuring out everything in the game, then we spend the next month figuring out the rules, then we have a couple of events, then we tweak the rules a bit, then we have some roster changes because the current rule set maybe doesn't fit well to this roster, and then we tweak some more rules, and then we have DLC thrown in, and we kind of get these things thrown at us, and we kind of have to deal with them, kind of have to, you know, if you think of a juggler who's juggling maybe 3 things and then he gets tossed in a 4th thing and he has to start juggling the 4th thing, that's pretty much our scene. We're juggling these things right now, and then we have this other variable that gets tossed in, then we have to start, you know, juggling that as well, and then, you know, it's only a matter of time before things start to fall and people start to freak out, and then we get sort of, you know, Aches' Rant. I should probably take a drink before I continue talking, because I definitely want to comment on the whole player union, because I think that is an interesting aspect for a scene that is sort of just man-made, more or less. So, if you look at regular pro sports unions, they excel. They do far better than any other sort of union. If you look at a union for fire department, construction site, or construction workers or whatever, doesn't matter. Pro sports unions, they have the best unions of all. And, you know, people, let's see that as a positive, because in more ways than none, we are a pro sport. We're more like a pro sport than not a pro sport. We'll just say that. So, in that regards, our idea of a players' union should be spot on. We should have a fantastic players' union that works just as well. The issue with that is everyone answers and speaks to the almighty dollar, which is something that our community doesn't have, which again, I think relates back to the lack of consistency, the lack of leading organization in charge. If you look at, you know, regular players' unions, they're made up of old players, old coaches, old officials, people who have been signed to expensive contracts and have money to throw into this organization to further it. When, like, I don't know what the pro football union is called, the players union, not players association, that's baseball, whatever it's called, they walk up to Roger Goodell in his office and they're like, okay, we want to see this sort of thing changed. Here's a giant fat check. Let's make this happen. Whereas we don't really have that sort of pull. We can't walk up to MLG. We can't walk up to Activision. We can't really say, like, okay, what will it take for you to make this trade? Right now we're just sort of saying, this is what we want changed, this is what needs to be changed, this is what's good for our community, and you'll make more money if you do this. And like, for Activision, from their side, they're like, no, why should we bend over backwards to help you guys? We're already sitting pretty in our throne right now. And from a business standpoint, I think that's understandable. From a spectator standpoint, that freaking sucks. So I don't know how well a union in our sport would work out. It's definitely needed, but I can't see it accomplishing anything unless there are power players in there that are actually willing to make a change, either with the dollar or with some sort of compromise. And honestly, it's going to come down to the dollar. I don't see Activision making any sort of decision unless they're going to be making profit from it. I think that's just the way business works. Aches and Nadeshot could march together holding hands to the Sledgehammer office and request a rule change, but if that is going to lose Sledgehammer money, they won't make that rule change, and that's just how it works. And I think in order for a players union like ours to succeed, there needs to be smaller unions below that, and there needs to be sort of this hierarchy of divisions. Here, hold on. I hope you guys can see this, but basically you need, like, we'll say this is our players union right here. Below that, you need like a coaches union. You need the coaches. You need the managers, the owners of all the teams to be talking together with MLG. And then on this side, you need the players to be talking. And then you have a player, you have people from this group come to here, you have people from this group come here, maybe there's a third, you have spectators, maybe there's a group that's in charge of the spectator and just the event experience, and then they have a group in there. So it's not really enough to it's not really enough to just have one players union. Let's say, okay, well, let's form a players union, let's do it. Because I think in order for our community to have a successful players union, we need to have these smaller organizations together. We need to have the players talking and saying what they want. We need to have the coaches talking and saying, or the owners saying and talking what they want. I don't know why I keep saying coaches. You have to the owners, and then they need to be having a discussion with MLG. MLG needs to be having a discussion, including all of them, with like Gfinity, UMG, and then they all need to be having a discussion with Activision. There is like a multi-layer discussioning happening right here that just isn't. And even just adding one layer, even though that is going to greatly improve the scene, and I would love to see that turned in, there are other layers that need to be added in order to make that main layer, that important layer, that players union layer successful. And I think, continuing on, when players have a problem, how do they voice their concern? Is there someone that all the players can say to, hey, this is what we think is wrong with the game? That one player then goes to like MLG and says, this is what the players are having issues with. We'd like to see this change. Can you make this change happen in your rule set? They sign off of it, yes. Then we walk it up to Activision, and we go immediately to Activision. We're like, this is what needs to be changed. We have 2 out of the 3 parties already signing off of it. We need you to sign off as well. And because there's a 2/3 vote, they should sign off on it too. And there needs to be that source, that channel for someone to voice a complaint and see it carried through all the way up the ladder. Because what we have now is people ranting on Twitter. Do you guys know the email of people at Activision? I don't know the email of people at Activision. I can't email David Vonderhaar and say, hey David, how's it going? Sorry to bother you. These are some real concerns that I have with the game. I'd love to see them addressed. Thank you for reading this email. Hope you have a nice day. No, it's a lot easier to just go at David Vonderhaar. Fix this now! You know, and I think until Activision and the like start incorporating these easy, more successful channels of communication, it'll be hard for people to voice their opinion in a civilized, mannered way. So yeah, I don't really know if there is an answer, or if I even have an answer, or even any sort of solution that is going to be like, yeah, if you do this, this will definitely fix our community. This will definitely make the community for better. But I definitely think a players union is the way to start. But even before players union, we need other unions. We need other organizations. We need other chains of command that people operate through in order to get scene done. We need to start implementing some sort of organization, some overall organization. And I think we need to stop looking at other esports and comparing ourselves, because we are not like other esports. We're vastly different. We have different challenges. We have a different game. We have a different game every year, and every year it's made by a different developer. No other esport has that, and to say like, oh, we can simply fix our problems by doing what League of Legends or doing what Counter-Strike does is not the right solution. We need to come with our own solution, and it's going to be unique to anything else that's already out there. So we can take in all these ideas and use them as springboards, but together we need to put our heads together, we need to be innovative, and we need to come up with some solution that is not already in existence. So I'm going to finish this drink. Not on camera though. And that's going to bring us to the end of the video. If you guys enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like. Make sure to leave a comment down below with your thoughts on the whole rant, on Hitch's rant, on Akes' rant, on everything. At FisherTwelve is the Twitter. Link down in the description below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and take care.